What's up, guys? Cables here to bring you my review of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 14, 15, and 16 reviews. And in these episodes, the three episodes were about Darth Maul and Death Watch. And this arc overall, I gotta say, was one of the best arcs they've had in this series. I mean, these three episodes were top notch. They were great character development, great action, a lot of great fights. This arc was very good. I got to give props to the team, Star Wars: The Clone Wars team, because the fact that they did this in 3 episodes instead of 4 was really good, and the time that they had too, with each episode being like 22 minutes. So yeah, each episode was just great overall. So in episode 14 was where pretty much Darth Maul and Sidious, they crash landed, and they were injured, and they were discovered by Pre-Vizsla and Death Watch. And Vizsla, noticed that they were kind of weird guys. The fact that they didn't look like Jedi, but they had lightsabers, and he didn't know who they were. And then when they were taken by Death Watch, and they were healed and everything, Darth Maul, he got new legs. And I'm so glad that Maul got new legs, because those legs that he had, they did not look human. They looked so uncomfortable, and the fact that they made him taller than he was just ridiculous. So I'm glad that he got humanoid legs, and Sidious got a mechanical arm, of course. And pretty much Darth Maul, he realizes when he's looking at Death Watch and he's talking to Vizsla that this is an organized group, that these guys are better than pirates and that I can use them for my goals. And pretty much they decide to work together, and knowing that they have a common enemy in ObiWan Kenobi. And Maul talks to Sidious, talks to them about how they're strong and that we can use them, and that they have a weakness, of course. And I'll get into that weakness later on. And so they decide to join together, but they realize they can't take Mandalore with the forces that they have, and that they need help, especially with criminals, and hiring more criminal alliances. So the goal was to get some help from some criminal organizations. The first was meaning the Black Suns. Now, if you guys don't know this, Darth Maul has a lot of history with the Black Suns, especially because with the Black Suns is that when Darth Maul was apprenticed to Palpatine, Darth Maul wreaked havoc on the Black Suns. I mean, he crippled the organization. He killed so many members, especially high-ranking members, and it took them a while to regroup. And so when they went to the planet, Maul was like, alright, we need your help, we need to make an alliance. But, of course, they were like, we are the Black Suns. And in one motion, Sidious took his lightsaber, he just threw it, and just decapitated all the Black Suns members' heads. He left one alive, of course, and he was the one that brought them to the group, of course. And but this one motion, just throwing his lightsaber, and it's all just being killed, it was just crazy. You would not expect that to happen. And so pretty much they have allies with the Black Suns, and then the next group to help them is the Pikes, a new group I've never heard of, but they offer to help because they don't want to get in their way. They want to be with the top guys, of course. And then finally the members was the Hutt clan, because the Hutt clan is the infamous army. Infamous criminal family. They have a lot of resources. And however, they do not agree to help Maul and Death Watch. And what happens is that we actually see 4 bounty hunters. One was Embo, and the other was a girl who had the horns, who was introduced the same time as Embo in Season 2, and then 2 other bounty hunters from Season 4 that was with Ventress. And pretty much what happened was we get a huge fight scene between Darth Maul, Sidious, and Death Watch against these bounty hunters and all the soldiers. And this battle was just great overall. You just saw a lot of different things happening. Death Watch, you really see they are strong, and I would say that Death Watch, they're as strong as clone troopers, maybe even better. I mean, with all the weapons they have, with twin blasters, risk blasters, flamethrowers, rockets, these are a legitimate group. And so what was a cool scene though throughout that fight was that we saw Vizsla, he had the Dark Saber out, and I gotta tell you guys, I love the Dark Saber. The fact that it actually looks like a legitimate sword with a handle, and the fact that the sound that it makes is different, and it really makes its weapon on its own. It really separates itself from a regular lightsaber. And he was just cutting down enemies left and right, one after the other. It was crazy. And one thing that One scene I did like was when Savage fought Embo, and I was kind of afraid that Embo was gonna die, but luckily, they escaped, and we really saw with Savage that even without a lightsaber, he's good at hand-to-hand combat because, of course, he's a Night Brother. He knows how to fight hand-to-hand. It's been we seen when he fought Ventress on the planet of Dathomir. So pretty much what happened is the Hutts were able to escape, but they were able to know that they were in Tatooine, and so they head over there. They took over. They killed who they needed to kill. Then they were like, "You were going to serve us," and Maul was like, "Submit, suffer." And the Hutts, they ended up being with joining the alliance with Darth Maul and Death Watch, and pretty much from this episode 15, you realize that Maul and Vizsla, they have complete different views. Maul views this as like the vision. You know what I mean? That his vision of a criminal empire that run by him, and it's really cool to see Darth Maul do all this because Darth Maul, even though we know he's a vicious warrior, but like he was also trained in the mind, how to be a great politician, how to grow, and how to, make alliances and use people for their own purposes and power. It was just, cool to see that, Darth Maul building his own mini empire. And what happened at the end, you see Vizsla, of course, he doesn't trust him, and he's so Bo-Katan that when the time is right, we will take Maul and his brother out. And then we get to the next episode, I believe the episode name was called Shades of Reason, I believe. And in this episode, it was time to initiate their plan with all of the alliances they've made. It's time to take Mandalore, and the plan was for the Darth Maul to use Savage and the other criminals to pretty much to use them to attack different areas of the planet Mandalore and the city, and so that when they would Satine's would look weak because he wouldn't know what to do. That Death Watch would come in and just take care of everybody and just defeat the criminals and look like heroes or saviors. And the plan had initiated, and that's exactly what happened. And I was kind of surprised that the people of Mandalore actually looked upon Death Watch as heroes, because the fact that Death Watch is known for having terrorist attacks on the planet Mandalore, it was weird. There's the fact that they were all like, okay, you know what, we're gonna call them as heroes, even though we know in the past they have killed people and attacked the planet. But it is what it is, I guess. It was kind of weird at all to see that. But what happened was when Vizsla took control of the planet, because Satine, of course, she got overpowered by Vizsla and Death Watch, and what ended up happening was Vizsla had actually captured Darth Maul and Savage and put them in prison because, of course, they weren't going to allow them to roam free. That it's time for Vizsla to take in charge and for his plans. And of course, Maul realized that, of course, and we saw how Maul and Savage, were they in the prison, they broke out because they needed to find somebody to be the leader of the planet. And that was a good idea because the thing is, Maul can't just go openly and say, hey, listen, I'm Darth Maul and I'm taking over your planet. That's not going to work. He knows that he needs a Mandalorian to rule over his people so that way, he'll have a stronger hold on the planet, you know what I mean? So they found out this guy who was in season 3, and what happened with him was that he had used the black market to get supplies for the planet, but of course he was arrested and helped with, I believe, with the help of who was it? It was Ahsoka or it was Satine, I believe. It was one of the two. So when they broke out free, of course, and with everything that happened, and Satine was still in prison, Darth Maul had confronted Vizsla along with Savage and the guy, and this is when we saw the showdown between Pre-Vizsla and Darth Maul. And I gotta say, this was a really good fight to see. It was very balanced, which I thought was a great idea, because the fact is, if Vizsla would have lost in like a minute, that would have made the Mandalorians look weak, and of course people would have been pissed off at the fact that Vizsla got taken out so easily. And this fight was very good because we saw Vizsla using his Dark Saber, using the twin blasters, flamethrowers, this rope. He was using everything, explosives. everything that he could to defeat Maul, but Maul was still able to defeat him, and he took control of the planet, and he became the new leader of Death Watch. However, Bo-Katan and some of the other members were like, oh no, we're not going to let this guy rule Death Watch. No outsider's going to rule Mandalore. That's not going to happen. And so pretty much the Death Watch had split. We see the members run off, and now Maul is control of Mandalore. He has everything that he needed. He has a planet. He has followers. He has a good, power base. He is the king. And he was on his throne. He was sitting like this. He looked like a real like dictator. He was just like, yeah, that's right, I'm the king. And then we get to finally with episode 16. This episode really ended off the arc well, and pretty much Satine was still captured, and there was 2 rescue attempts by her, one by Bo-Katan and some of her Mandalorian followers and her nephew, and the other, of course, was with Obi-Wan. And at first, both of them had failed. And what was actually interesting in this episode that we found out at the end was that Bo-Katan and Satine are sisters. And when I found this out, I was really surprised, because the fact that Bo-Katan would actually join Death Watch, and knowing that Death Watch's one of their goals was to take down Satine and actually kill her, then Bo-Katan seemed fine with that. And I was really surprised that that actually had happened, and that you really wonder what happened between the 2 of them that would make, Bo-Katan want to kill Satine. It would have been cool to see more about their relationship. And the other rescue attempt, of course, was Obi-Wan, because when he found out, because Satine had sent her a message, Satine had sent Obi-Wan a message, and, Obi-Wan had to do it alone, because the problem was that when you're a neutral planet, you can't really ask for help, unless you're going to look like invaders. And if the planet of Mandalore was on the Republic side, then you would have Republic cruisers going in, taking out Maul, taking out Death Watch with ease, but they couldn't do that. So that was one of the main problems there. So Obi-Wan had to go in alone. He snuck in the planet, and he tried to rescue Satine, but he got caught at the end. His ship got blown up, and then we see Darth Maul and Sidious waiting, confronting him. And this is when we get to the real good part between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, because Darth Maul does not want to kill Obi-Wan. He wants to make him suffer as much as possible. So what he does is he goes and I believe he takes his Dark Saber, and he kills Satine right in front of Obi-Wan. And with this happening, it really shows how Obi-Wan is a true Jedi Master, and is a true Jedi. Because if this was Anakin, you all know that Anakin would have just gotten so angry, he would have killed anybody associated with Darth Maul. He would have killed everybody if that was Padme being killed by Darth Maul like that. But of course, Obi-Wan, of course he probably did love Satine too, but he had to stick to his, Jedi principles. And it was really cool moment to see Obi-Wan, not getting angry, being one with the Force like that, not giving into the dark side. And I thought it was pretty cool for Obi-Wan on that part. And it kind of sucked too for Satine to die, because I believe she was a pretty good female character in the series. But that's what happened. And when Obi-Wan was locked up, Bo-Katan came in with the other members of Death Watch and saved him. And meanwhile, as that was happening, guess who arrives? The Emperor himself, Darth Sidious. And he arrives because I believe he sensed that Maul was getting stronger and his influence was expanding, and he could not allow that to happen. So what happened was, with him knowing that he went on the planet, he force choked 2 Mandalorians without even using his hands that much. It was crazy. It was great. One thing I didn't see, and then finally when he entered into the throne room, Darth Maul, he immediately went on one knee and he was like, "Hey, listen, Master, I did this all for you. I need to be your apprentice." And he looked at Sidious and he was like, "Nah, he's gonna try to overthrow me." And we get the final fight between these 3 Sith Lords, and this fight was once again a very good lightsaber fight. You know what I mean? Sidious and Maul fighting it off. And as soon as during the fight, when Sidious and Darth Sidious were going one-on-one against each other, I knew immediately Sidious was going to die. And I'm pretty sure you guys knew as well when you saw the trailer that Sidious was going to die. And it makes sense too, because if you're fighting Darth Sidious, you're fighting the Dark Lord of the Sith. That you know, then both of them were going to survive. And he got impaled, and, you know, I will say this, Sidious did do better than 3 Jedi Masters against Darth Sidious, but, you know, he died, and in his last breath, he kind of said that he was an unworthy apprentice, and we saw that the magic was, like, oozing out of Darth Maul. I mean, excuse me. It was oozing out of Savage, and he reverted back to his normal self. And then, finally, Darth Maul, he fought, you know, Palpatine on his own. And what I thought would have been the icing on the cake, though, if Darth Maul would have took Savage's lightsaber, and this would have been old school on Palpatine, and just tried his best in this attack, use his dual wield lightsaber and just go ham on Darth Sidious, but that didn't happen. You know, we saw Darth Maul. He used his Dark Saber and his regular lightsaber, and unfortunately he lost. And however, Palpatine did not kill him. He did not kill him at all. He said that he had use for him, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. That the fact that he did not kill Darth Maul. Now, my whole thing is that I believe that either Darth Maul will be used as an assassin for Palpatine, because remember, when Palpatine found Maul, he trained him as an assassin first. He didn't train him as an apprentice, but as a pure, you know, an assassin. And this might be good to see Darth Maul go back to his old roots, or he has other secret missions, you know, maybe go to the Jedi Temple, fight some Jedi. You know, who knows what's going to happen with Darth Maul, but more than likely we're going to see him in Season 6. Kind of sucks at how everything went down, you know, he being being attacked with force lightning on the ground, just being attacked in pain, and kind of sucked how Darth Maul, he had all that power, and just in one motion, just everything was gone. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens to Darth Maul. Like I said, overall this arc was very good. You know, a lot of characters, you know, some characters did die, of course, but that was to be expected because we're getting close to the events of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. But these 3 episodes were great. I really enjoyed them a lot. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think will happen to Darth Maul in the end? What do you think about with ObiWan and Death Watch and the future of Death Watch? Because really, the planet is at like almost like a civil war you know. I mean, you see all the Mandalorians fighting each other. You know, somebody's gonna have to go down there and just do something, especially with the Republic. So maybe we'll see that in the next season. Yeah, leave your thoughts down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and please, you know, leave your thoughts down below and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.